One fun way to adapt an image and make it more abstract is to play a game in the Surrealist called Cubomania. So I've taken this image of this pup and I've made it into a square and I've cut it into 9 squares. So it has 9 equal parts. And I'm using the square format because a square can be turned in multiple different directions very easily. So I start with the image, realistic, and then I can take these little squares and I can turn them in lots of different ways. And then you'll notice, obviously, that the image starts to interact with itself in new ways. And sometimes I look and see how segues start to connect with each other. Sometimes I do it a little bit more randomly. But basically, it's a really cool way to just take an image and deconstruct it and make it work in a possible abstraction. So let's say that I've done that and I'm pleased with the interactions there. I can then take some trace paper, I can lay it over the image and create a boundary around it, and then simply start to trace over the new shapes that I've created. And these new shapes, in the end, might not have a whole lot to do with what a dog looks like. These new shapes might feel really different once the tracing's done. And that's okay because we are working with moving away from our need to be literal and also surrendering to the unexpected. So this is a really fun way, a really liberating way to do that. And I'm not really too worried when parts don't connect, because those parts could possibly be interesting on their own. And I'm using some of the grid here too. I'm using some of the matrix of the grid to make both straight shapes, and I'm also honoring the beautiful shape of the dog in areas where it's going to be more curvilinear and organic. So when I pull this away, I notice that it's a whole new playground. And what I can do with that playground now is I can experiment with color. I can experiment. I could transfer this drawing onto another sheet of paper. I could paint it in. I could change the relationships. But what I'm interested in now is maybe just starting to, just with a colored pencil, bringing in a little color here and there, moving it from line to shape, just to start to see what some of the possibilities are. And you'll notice that it really doesn't feel like a dog anymore, even though it was born from a dog shape. And it's kind of exciting to just sort of let go of all of that description and move into a situation that we couldn't predict, move into a situation that is exciting, where we're forced to let go of the reality of an image. And so you could continue to color in and work with this in all different ways. Another thing that you can do is, if you have other tracings, which I actually happen to have right here, you could layer them on top of each other to create new shapes. So this sort of layered situation you could trace over and over again to create more complex patterns. So starting with an image, a realistic image like this dog, will ultimately, through using this Cubomania idea, this grid that you can change in all different ways, can give rise to many, many different compositions out of one starting image. So Cubomania is a really fun thing to try, and it will help you bridge the gap to abstraction in a really fun way.